Good day to our audience. The research group is here to present the study entitled Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic to the Pedagogical Practices of Technical Vocational Teachers. The researchers will present the study or discuss the study following the IMRAD format. The authors of the study are Alvin R. De Guia, Janica May D. Malabanan, Janica May P. Cordero, Angeline P. Villena, and Arishjan M. Alfonso. For the introduction, the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 is responsible for more fatalities than the SARS coronavirus, despite it being in the initial stage of the global pandemic. That is according to the study conducted by the World Health Organization in 2020. This situation led the Department of Education and Commission on Higher Education or CHED to implement or to give orders about the sudden transition from face-to-face learning to remote learning. For the purpose of this research, this study aims to determine the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the pedagogical practices of technical vocational teachers in terms of their teaching strategies, teaching methods, and engagement between teachers and students. In addition, it also aims to find out the adjustments made by the technical vocational teachers in facilitating the technical vocational skills necessary to be acquired by their students. The findings of this study may be used as a guide or reference in developing or modifying a curriculum which is aligned to the new normal situation, which could be beneficial for both students and teachers. This research aims to answer the following questions. Number one, what is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the pedagogical practices of technical vocational teachers? And number two, how do the participants respond to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic? One of the most heavily affected by this COVID-19 pandemic is the education sector. This crisis introduced new normal situation to the school setting here in the Philippines, and it led to various barriers which hinders the engagement between teachers and students during this online education for the continued learning in this ongoing pandemic. According to Lungo and Lungo, the sudden transition from face-to-face instruction to remote learning brought challenges for both teachers and students with regards to active participation and interaction. Face-to-face instruction, which usually employs active learning techniques such as instructor-guided group works, debates, participatory presentations, and breakout sessions, were deemed to be impossible to execute, thus limiting the interaction and engagement between students and teachers. So, adversities led the technical vocational teachers to come up with new pedagogical practices or to adjust their new pedagogical practices in order to satisfy the needs of the learners in today's situation. Without face-to-face interaction, the need to implement synchronous and asynchronous learning has been considered. Synchronous learning may be done through video conferencing, messaging apps, online chat, or audio chat using an online tool. On the other hand, asynchronous learning could be done or means that the teachers will provide learning materials such as reading materials or learning tasks for the students, and this may be accessed by the students through learning management system or LMS. In this pandemic, e-learning tools were vital in assisting the schools and universities to facilitate the students' learning, while educational institutions are still closed. The adjustments with regards to these pedagogical practices serve as an active response of technical vocational teachers to this pandemic. Teachers have various responses to the changes brought by this ongoing pandemic that can help the students and themselves as well. TechVoc teachers attended or participated in training programs provided by Department of Education that focuses on education technology. In addition, communities of practice and support groups were formed through social media platforms by teachers. Furthermore, they even extended their responses outside of their field of work by traveling for hours each day just to establish small learning groups and conduct classes from the back of a truck, while others personally deliver learning materials to their students. However, these responses affected them both professionally and personally. Teachers' well-being contribute to work satisfactory and productivity. The impact of this pandemic led the teachers to feel stress, hence affected their work and personal lives. Still, Our textbook teachers managed to create various coping strategies in order to make sure that they are still contributing to achieve quality education.
I'm Janica May Malabanan, and I will be discussing the methodology of this research. Phenomenological study was found to be the most appropriate design for this research, for it can reveal the life experiences of technical vocational teachers with regards to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on their pedagogical approaches. In order to gather the data needed, the researchers will accomplish the following. The researchers will ask the research advisor to validate all of the given questions after finalizing and securing the interview questions they provided pertaining to the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic on the pedagogical approach of technical vocational teachers. Following the deans and research advisors' signatures on the letter, the researchers will write another letter for the division office of Quezon City. This is to formally request approval on the conduct of thesis writing. Upon approval, the researchers will then formally pick the study's eligible teachers. The approved consent letter will be sent to them via email. When a teacher who is eligible for the study decides to participate, they will be asked about their spare time in order to arrange an interview with them. Google Meet will be used as a platform for data collection and interviewing. Google Meet will be used as a platform for data collection and interviewing. The study will utilize purposive sampling in order to identify precisely the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the TEDVOC teachers. It will also utilize in-depth interview as its research instrument for data collections and will be attended by 5 technical vocational teachers in Batasan Hills National High School who have at least 2 or more years of teaching experiences. The reason is for them to really compare and contrast their experiences in teaching during pre-pandemic and during the pandemic. There will be 5 in-depth interview sessions for each participant and will be recorded via Google Meet. The session is divided into 3 parts. The first part is all about the personal information of the participant. The second is about the interview questions. And lastly, the presentation of token of gratitude for the participants. When the in-depth interviews are completed, the researchers will use emergent coding done through line-by-line analysis of the participants' answer to draw themes from their claims. A psychometrician will also be interviewed as a key informant in order to analyze, expound, and support the claims of the participants' answer in an informative manner. The researchers will complete the study bearing in mind ethical considerations, especially in terms of giving credits to the person and sites that have been used in every information in this study that are not from the researchers. References will always be present in every detail of this study that has been used by the researchers. Asking permission to every participant about the information that they have given would be a part of this study as a respect to their intellectual property and confidentiality of the data. The truthfulness of the information will always be checked to create an unbiased study to avoid misleading and misunderstanding of information to the person reading the research.
This is Janica May Cordero, and now we will present to you the result of this research study. The data analysis provided in this chapter discusses 4 major themes, namely, challenges, pedagogical impact of COVID-19 pandemic, personal impact of COVID-19 pandemic, and teachers' response. Table 1 shows challenges faced by technical vocational teachers in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic. There are 2 columns in this table, the participant and their response. For the first row, participant 1, 2, 3, and 4 answers that teachers' engagement is one of the challenges faced by TechVoc teachers. For the second row, participant 1, 4, and 5 responded that learning assessment is also a challenge in this time of COVID-19 pandemic, while participant 2 and 3 responded that increased workload is one of the challenge faced by the TechVoc teachers, and for the last row, time constraint is also a challenge for the participant 4. One of the major themes of this study is challenges theme. Challenges are part of every teacher's journey. According to the participants, they experience various challenges while teaching during this pandemic. Their claims are based on their own experiences and perceptions. The following sub-themes includes teacher-student engagement, assessment, increased workload, and time constraint. The first sub-themes under challenges is teacher-student engagement. According to the participants, one of the challenges that they face is the difficulty with regards to the teacher and student engagement, lack of interaction, as well as problems in student attentiveness cause these challenges to occur. This particular theme was experienced by most of the participants. The statement of the participants proved the study conducted by Lungu and Lungu 2021. The unexpected transition to remote instruction was challenging for both faculty and students. Face-to-face classroom instruction, which usually employs a range of active learning techniques such as instructor-guided group work, breakout sessions, debates, and participatory presentations, were deemed to be impossible to execute in remote learning. Another challenge of TechVoc teacher in Batasan Hills National High School is difficulty in assessing the students' learning, performances, and outputs in the current learning delivery modality, blended learning. As an example, for this particular subteam, participant 1 mentioned, unlike the situation of today, where we teach online, it is really hard to assess if the students really learn. There are times when I ask them, "Have you learned something today?" Then they would answer, "Yes, ma'am," but whenever I give quizzes, the result would tell otherwise. The claims of the participant directly relate to the teaching challenges stated in an article authored by Marivin 2020. Teachers may also struggle to assess students' learning levels to identify whether students are on track, and any learning gaps or losses resulting from the school closure and for remedial actions. Other than that, the challenges that TechVoc teacher encounter in this time of distance learning is increased workload, wherein, according to the participants, all learning delivery modalities were being applied to the current teaching and learning setup. As stated by the participants, the Department of Education gave them tasks and activities as well, which includes answering modules for teachers. The experiences of the participants proved the article of National Education Association 2020 about the increased workload in the education system, specifically to teachers. The pandemic, however, has pushed workloads well beyond sustainable limits for teachers. And lastly, under the challenges theme is time constraint. Difficulty in imparting knowledge to students due to very limited teaching time is also a challenge for one of the participants. According to participant 4, the time frame teaching hour has been limited. Hence, there is also a limitation with regards to imparting knowledge to students. This statement for the participants proved the study of Freywot, Mikhail, Ross, Talibs, Vovides, and Woodgen, 2013, which states that time commitment required from teachers act as a major challenge to online learning. Let's proceed to the second major theme of this study, namely, pedagogical impact of COVID-19 pandemic on technical vocational teachers. Pedagogical practices are very important to determine the teacher's action in improving the effectiveness of the teaching and learning process of the students. Because of COVID-19 pandemic, there are a lot of changes in their pedagogical practices. The following sub-themes emerge from the data collection and are based on the participants' own perspectives. The following sub-themes are changes in pedagogical practices, financial impact, and technical impact. Table 2 shows pedagogical impact of COVID-19 pandemic on technical vocational teachers. There are 2 columns, which is the participants and their response. As you can see, In the first row, all of the participants responded that there is changes in their pedagogical practices. Same also in the second row, all the participants responded that technical impact is one of the pedagogical impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And for the last row, participant 1, 2, and 3 responded that financial impact is also considered as pedagogical impact in this time of pandemic. The first sub-theme under pedagogical impact is changes in pedagogical practices. According to participants, as a result of the shifting of classes into remote and online learning, there are a lot of changes in their pedagogical practices and strategies when delivering their lessons. Most of them are blended approach. The claim of the participants directly relates to the literature review on impact of COVID-19 pandemic on teaching and learning by Sumitra Pokhrel R., January 19, 2021. Despite the problems faced by both educators and learners, online learning, distance learning, and continuing education have proven and remedy for this unprecedented worldwide pandemic. Transitioning from traditional face-to-face learning to online learning can be very different experience for students and teachers, one that they must adjust to with few or no other options. The next one under pedagogical impact of COVID-19 to the TechVoc teachers in Batasan Hills National High School is financial impact. The issue of financial restriction reflects the fact that studying and teaching in this challenging times put every teacher's financial capabilities at risk. Participant 3 stated that finances is one of the challenges because we, as a teachers, need to spend more. I ended up getting Wi-Fi installation even if it's against my will. This is because it is essential for me to download videos from YouTube that I will present to my student and be able to know the demonstration of the activities. The experiences of the participants prove the thesis paper of Robosa J., Paras N., Perante L., Alves T., and Tus J. on January 2021, titled The Experiences and Challenges Faced of the Public School Teachers Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic. A phenomenological study in the Philippines, the issue of financial limits reflects the fact that studying in these difficult times put every Filipino family financial capability in at risk. The third and last sub-theme will be the technical impact. According to the participants, one of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on their pedagogical practices is the technical impact. Using new educational online platforms and software are new to them. Internet connectivity and lack of teaching materials are common problems they are experiencing. Participants share the statement, as a TechVoc teacher, in a particular, I have faced many challenges as a result of this pandemic. As a technical issues, a lot of equipment to use and a poor internet connection. And I believe that this is the problem that affects not only me but also my student. As stated in the report of Akamai 2017, the Philippines has the lowest internet connectivity in Asia. Besides, adversities may include equity gaps, student security and safety, quality of learning being compromised, and poor assessment result. Winthrop 2020.
I'm Angeline P. Villena. To continue, the third major theme of this chapter is namely the personal impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of COVID-19 pandemic to technical vocational teachers is not just manifested through their pedagogical practices or teaching performance. It also affects their physical and mental health. The following sub-themes include mental impact and health impact. For the Table 3, personal impact of COVID-19 pandemic to technical vocational teachers indicate that participants 2, 3, and 4 responds mental health concern, while the row participant 2 and 5 responds to health impact. With the sudden transition of face-to-face class to online or remote learning, the health of the teachers is highly affected. The mental health concern of teachers is showing And with that, some of them are experiencing emotional challenges, in particular stress. The participant 3 shared that it's very stressful. If this school year is a transition period of two students and they are stressed about it, teachers are more stressed about it. The reason being is that we must deal with our students. We have to deal with DepEd, we have to deal with the school or division office. We really need to adjust. I realized during the start of the school year that I even feel at loss, not just my students. The experience of the participants supported by Osamis Exabaria, Berasategi Sancho, Idioga Mondragon, and Dosiel Santa Maria. In September 2020, most schools and university in Spain reopened and teachers felt great uncertainty due to this unprecedented situation. Teachers have accumulated psychological symptoms since the beginning of the pandemic. The results revealed that high percentage of teachers showed anxiety, depression, and stress symptoms. Also, in the field of education, teachers is inevitable to risk their own health, especially in preparation of their classes. This is evident with the response of participant 2 who stated that even our health condition is at risk because we don't have enough sleep due to our preparations. In a study conducted by Merely, Castelnovo, Soma, Cosronovo, Mombelli, Daniela Botani, Detnier, Fossati, Ferini Strambi, in 2020, it shows that teachers have a prevalence of maintenance insomnia before COVID-19 of 24% that significantly increased during COVID-19, reaching to 40%. Moreover, teachers with difficulties in sleep initiation were only 15% that increased to 42%. And for the last major theme, which is namely the teacher's response to COVID-19 pandemic. According to the participants, they've done a lot of preparation in response to the changes in learning delivery, modalities, and environment. The following sub-themes include attending seminars or training, self-paced learning, formulation of supplementary learning materials, support system, adjustment and considerations, and fulfilling duty. Table 4, Teacher's Response to COVID-19 Pandemic, which indicates that participants 1, 2, 3, and 4 response attending seminars or trainings, participants 2 and 3 response to self-paced learning, and in the row, participants 4 and 5 response to formulation of supplementary learning materials, row participants 4 response to support system, row participant 5 response to adjustment and consideration, and lastly participant 1 response to fulfilling duty. The first sub-theme under the teacher's response to COVID-19 pandemic is attending seminar or trainings. The education system was greatly affected when the COVID-19 pandemic struck and had a transition from face-to-face to online classes. Everyone, including teachers, were not prepared for it. That is why the Department of Health provided different seminars or trainings to prepare teachers for the incoming school year. The Department of Education offered online training programs for teaching during the inset week last March 15 to 19 of 2021 by the virtue of DepEd Order No. 12 Series of 2021. It was spearheaded by the Information and Communication Technology Service Education Technology Unit or ICTS EdTech, which participated on a voluntary basis. This focus on education technology and shall cover topics on integration and utilization of DepEd Commons, DepEd TV, DepEd Learning Management System or DLMS, and open educational resources, among others. The next sub-theme under the teacher's response to COVID-19 pandemic is self-paced learning. Aside from the different seminars, trainings provided by Department of Education, teachers also did their part in learning everything they needed to know in our current situation. This can be seen in the statement given by participant 5. I also conducted self-study and practice in order to improve my ability to use computer application and advanced technology in order to adapt to a new normal education setting. According to Berry and Kitchen of 2020, educators across the globe and all levels of schooling have been forced to quickly adjust to this strange, uncertain, and challenging situation. Members of our education community are grappling with new and different ways to engage learners from a distance and to connect with and create community. There is no one-size-fits-all approach as context, learners, and opportunities differ within and across classrooms, schools, regions, and countries. With that being said, self-study is essential in these times in order to keep up with the sudden changes brought by the pandemic. The third sub-theme for this is formulation of supplementary learning materials. Because of the sudden transition of face-to-face classes to online or remote learning, teachers need to prepare their learning materials for the students. They are called Supplementary Learning Materials or SLEM. According to Peters et al. Of 2020, the present situation compels all educators and policymakers to explore new digital, online, and pedagogical possibilities to continuously deliver quality education among their learners. The sub-team support system shows that support group in this kind of situation help teachers to make their work and tasks easier by providing instructional materials from that group wherein they can use and modify to have their own teaching materials. According to Ketchell 2018, to reduce educator stress is by developing working conditions. With pleasant working conditions and people, this helps the teachers experience less pressure and more determination. Successful understudy connections allows for effective and successful practice and thinking of educators towards themselves and others. The fourth sub-theme is adjustment and considerations. Being a flexible and considerate teacher to their students, especially in this time of pandemic, is what the participant manifests to make sure that all students will comply with requirements and be able to perform their individual tasks. This is evident to the statement of participant 5, which is, I'm very particular with their attendance, performance, and reportings. But now, I adjust my standards by lowering it a bit. I made all consideration for my students based on the fact that I may be affected by the pandemic, but I know for sure that they are more affected than me because their parents lost their jobs. According to Boscourt and Sharma of 2020, the faculty members should step up and let the student feel their social-emotional presence, especially in this difficult period of our generation. For instance, they could ask the students if they are still doing well and what learning remedies or alternatives they could agree as a class, and not just one-way ERT approach. Significantly, since we are not in a normal situation, learning should not be highly regarded as a matter of grades and content-based, but pedagogy of compassion and care must be present all the time. And the last sub-themes of teachers' response to COVID-19 pandemic is fulfilling duty. Teachers, despite this new normal condition in school, are still committed to their duty and fulfilling the teaching mission despite the challenging changes brought by the COVID-19 crisis. It was specifically mentioned by participant 1. As a teacher, I need to fulfill my oath of duty as a professional teacher. According to the study of Chestnut S. and Burley H. of 2015, education during the pandemic is not an easy task. Teachers need to face continuous changes in educational needs such as pedagogy, curriculum, and regulatory educational policies. Since teachers are facing challenges, they should invest more effort and involvement in maintaining and promoting high-quality teaching and optimizing student outcomes. the level of effort and involvement exerted by the teachers in pursuit for quality of teaching are reflected by their continued commitment to work, school, students, and to profession.
Conclusions and recommendations. With the findings of the study, it is revealed that there are four major themes about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the pedagogical practices of technical vocational teachers. Namely, challenges, pedagogical impact of COVID-19 pandemic, personal impact of COVID-19 pandemic, and teachers' response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The researchers would like to recommend that further research be conducted to deepen the study about the research topic. As an impact of the ongoing pandemic to the pedagogical practices of the subject of this study, which are the technical vocational teachers, the challenges that the TechVoc teachers experience rooted from the difficulties to face challenges in terms on how they interact and manage their students and their professional responsibilities. The technical vocational teachers are indeed having a hard time adjusting with the unfamiliar situation, unlike the face-to-face environment where the teachers can immediately assess the students' performance and give feedback just in time. Considering the fact that TechVoc is a practical course which usually employs hands-on demonstration and activities, TechVoc teachers are now relying on the use educational videos, readily made presentations, and modules in teaching the students in remote learning. It causes them to experience stress and lack of sleep, which could be detrimental to their overall health. If the education sectors neglects the needs and struggles of the TechVoc teachers, this can highly affect their teaching performance as well as the learning of the student. In contrast, if given enough support and attention, TechVoc teachers and students will benefit from it. In response to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, various coping strategies that had to do with their preparation, knowledge, and skill acquisition, as well as adjustments and consideration were done by the TechVoc teachers. Without continued support, TechVoc teachers may encounter adversities in imparting quality education to students. With the changes in our educational sector caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers are struggling to deliver quality education appropriate in remote learning, specifically for technical vocational school subject. Based on a careful review of the findings and analysis of the data, respective departments and education authorities may provide financial and technical assistance for the enhancement of teachers' pedagogical practices. This is to ensure that even in remote learning, teachers are being supported in enhancing their performance, modification of curriculum in accordance with the needs and demands of the students, teachers, and school subject may also be applied. Furthermore, prioritizing the well-being of teacher, both physically and mentally, must all be taken into consideration.
The researchers would like to give thanks and acknowledge those people who contribute to the completion of this study. This research study has been made possible by the guidance, supervision, cooperation, and participation of the following: to God Almighty, who guides and secures the safety of the proponents in conducting this study; to our parents, not only for their unending support, which include their financial and emotional support, but also for giving us the strength and inspiration to do our best in preparing the research study; to Dr. Dennis O. Dumbrique, our research advisor, guiding and teaching us all the necessary information we must acquire in order to finish this research study. His suggestions and constructive criticisms meant so much for the completion of this study. To the Division Office of Quezon City and Batasan Hills National High School Principal Dr. Eladio H. Escolano for allowing the technical vocational teachers to participate in this study. To Mr. Ralph Randall Rivera, Dr. Zenaida M. De Los Santos, and Dr. Daiselin C. Palillo, who helped the researchers in validating the interview questionnaires used in gathering data and for extending their help in the enhancement of the research study. To Ms. Maria Nenet Rogel, our grammarian, who gave time and effort in correcting the grammar of the study. To the participants of this study, who actively supported and cooperated in terms of time. To the proponents who exerted all their effort and time to make this completion of the research study to be possible and successful within the given time. Together, we give our immeasurable appreciation and deepest gratitude to the persons mentioned above who brought success of going through this research study. We are very grateful for this wonderful accomplishment.